On this podcast, we'll talk about more than just basketball. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a two-time NCAA scoring champ and the NCAA Player of the Year. Honors I earned by putting in the work and staying focused on the bigger picture. I had dreams and aspirations of playing in the NBA a long time, but an ACL injury took me on a completely different path. We'll dive deep into real stories, challenges, and triumphs that athletes, coaches, and everyday people experience when chasing their dreams.
Be breeding warriors. Anything you place in front of me, I'll be victorious. Straight up out the trenches where it's vicious, but it's glorious. Ready for whatever, never scared. We got the Lord with us in the ghetto, we notorious. Be breeding warriors. Anything you place in front of me, I'll be victorious. Straight up out the trenches where it's vicious, but it's glorious. Ready for whatever, never scared. We got the Lord with us in the ghetto, we notorious. This be breeding. My mama had to make a way.
A Starstruck podcast, back at it again. I'm here with one of my great friends in Rich Fresh, one of the best designers in the world, has an extremely impressive story, and he's one of those guys that I want to bring on and share the platform with, and allow him to just tell his story to the world because it's very interesting. Just to start off a little bit, this guy was a member of the CFDA. He also was on the Harlem Fashion Row Award honoree, and he also had some Under Armour and Gap collaborations. I was fortunate enough to meet this guy in Paris when we were participating Notre Dame against South Carolina the first time in Paris, and it was overwhelming the way that this guy not only provided for our team, but he shocked the world with some of the things that he brought to the table. So none other than Mr. Rich Fresh. How you doing, brother?
Man, how about yourself, bro? It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. I'm good, man. Just living the dream, living the life, and excited
Yes,
to have you on, man.
Sorry, man. Yeah, it's
Yep.
good to see you, man. It's been a while. It's been a
It's
while.
been a while, man. Paris.
Yeah, man.
Paris.
It's a good time.
Yes,
Good
it
times.
was, man. Well, just starting off, man, just a little bit about yourself. Let the world know who you are. Obviously, you big time in my eyes and a lot of other people, but I definitely want to
Okay.
make sure everyone knows exactly who you are.
Well, they call me Fresh. Some people call me Rich. My brand is Rich Fresh. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm a tailor. I'm a tailor by trade. When I was 18, I dropped out of college and was like, this is what I really want to focus on. Is being a tailor, and I just stuck with it for a long time, and I decided at a certain point, that I had to go bigger than Memphis. Uh, I'm just kind of jumping right into the story.
Oh no, that's good.
Like it it originated in Little Rock. To be honest with you, in Little Rock is when I got the fashion bug. And I'll go into that story a bit more in detail, but once we moved to Memphis, I already kind of knew like fashion could be my saving grace because I wasn't athletic. And I didn't get tall really until the ninth or 10th grade. So I never had the thought that, oh shit, I could be an athlete.
Hmm.
I was always little. So for me, it was like, this is a defense mechanism and it's also an attraction mechanism, to make people perceive me and deal with me a certain way. I got to use clothing to my advantage. And so I just realized that early on. Moved to Memphis, really started focusing on my appearance. And I just had like, in my eyes, I had so much luck. I had so much good fortune throughout my high school career because of the way I presented myself. In
Hmm.
so many different situations I was in that if I presented myself differently, the situation would have gone different. Um, I would have been perceived different. So I just always took mental cues that uh, the world really revolves around perception.
Hmm.
We really deal with everything in our lives. If we see, someone falls down on the ground and we see someone walk by with a matching top and bottom, short sleeve, and some comfortable looking shoes, we're going to say, oh, nurse, nurse, can you help this person out? Because of the way they're dressed, we perceive they have this ability and skill set. Can you help this person? But if they was walking by with some gym shorts, we wouldn't have been as inclined. So I just paid attention to that. I was like, damn, if you can really harness, if you can really harness your power around helping people shape their identity through their clothing, this shit could be real powerful. And I had a lot of scholarship offers. Like I aced my ACT.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that you could. I didn't even know that I aced it. To be completely honest with you, I was just taking the test. And I found out later because it's not in standardized numbers. So you get these numbers like the first time I took it, I got a 33. The second time I took it, I got a 36.
Woo-hoo.
I didn't know what that meant.
33.
So,
I got a 19.
yes. Right. So but me like not thinking about it, I didn't know. So I was just like, shit, man, I guess I did. People was like, bro, that's like super high. I was like, oh, word? Okay.
Absolutely.
I got all these scholarship offers, but I had already in my mind said that fashion was going to be it.
Absolutely.
And, this is back in the late 90s. So, colleges didn't recognize fashion as like a real thing.
For sure. So when you got a chance to do that, when you were able to establish yourself from a clothing standpoint, from a fashion standpoint, obviously tell us about how you transitioned into actually getting your own, like making it your thing and bringing your brand to life.
That's been far into the game. Like I started when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have clothing with my name in it until like Rich Fresh that was 20 years later.
Mm.
So it's 20 years of pursuing the same outcome.
Okay.
Because that was always the pursuit was always to wear my own clothing and to, I had this idea like, man, it'd be so dope to have this design studio where you could draw things and think of things and be able to make them. So you're not out shopping hoping you can find shit. You can create the thing that people should wear. That was always like the dream. But I don't come from money, and I didn't have access to it. I didn't think, oh man, let me go get loans. Like to me, that just always seemed like a losing game. Like man, I ain't no one gonna give you a loan for no fashion shit. You'll be chasing that dream forever. You may as well go and hustle and just stack your own bread, do it yourself. So it just took going through a process of like, okay, what's the easiest way to get into this? Tailoring. Tailoring is almost I have a sewing machine, I got a skill set, doesn't cost much, I can make money. I can develop a name, then I can start doing other things that evolve in the realm of fashion until I get to the point where my reputation is so high that people want to wear clothing with my name in it.
Absolutely.
Because if you're no one and you don't have any experience, that name doesn't mean much inside of your garment. But like when you charge what Tom Ford charges, the name has got to represent something. And like I put so many years into making sure that my tailoring and my commitment to this craft was so pristine that when you say that, you wearing that, it means some shit. Like, yo, that's why the shit's so on point. Cuz devoted his life to making sure that he could do this shit beautifully.
Sure. And that makes sense. Especially when you look at the urban fashion, the hip hop era, just a lot of people that came through wearing certain styles that was able to captivate an audience that got behind them, man. And one of the things that I admired when I came to Paris and met you, like you were able to bring a different style to the entire situation, like from coaches to players. For those that don't know, Rich was able to provide track suits, which we'll get into for University of South Carolina and Notre Dame, obviously, and it was just a beautiful feel. We had players that were super excited to represent.
It looked great. It looked so good.
Oh my God, man! So we still talk about it to this day, and our coaches still wear the items to practice and to games, and so it's just a good thing, man. And I commend you. I salute you, my brother.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
really do.
For sure. So talk about some people that you were able to clothe outside of us, because that was a big deal in Paris, obviously, but I'm sure you worked with some major people and were able to clothe them as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna run down my list.
Okay.
I had So before I launched Rich Fresh, I'm big on manifestation, and I went through a really crazy storm, which I know we'll touch on in a minute. And so when I came out of that storm, a big thing for me was I was about to do some magical shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew like whatever I'm gonna do next, it's gonna be magical because there's no way I was supposed to go through that experience
Mm-hmm.
and not come out and do something magical. And so I was like, man, let me get this whiteboard, and I blessed the whiteboard. I like prayed over it, and I said, this is my magical whiteboard. Everything I write on it becomes true. And I wrote my story, how I came from being homeless, sleeping on the streets, to living in a penthouse, driving a Maserati, and boom, 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 and living this life and making, and becoming a thing. And was like I just wrote what my desires were. But then I also wrote down, here are some of the people that he was able to design garments for. These are the people, this is what his repertoire looks like. And I just wrote names, people I'd never talked to, never seen, none of that. I just wrote the names.
Mm-hmm.
I got every single name on this list.
Wow.
I can tell you right now, I got every single name on the list. I put Obama's name on the list, Barack Obama.
Okay.
I've made clothes for Obama, had the pleasure of meeting him at his 60th birthday party. Um, John Legend was on there. Kevin Hart was on there. Will Smith was on there. Justin Bieber was on there. The Weeknd was on there.
Did I see Dr. Dre as well?
Yeah, Dr. Dre. I didn't have his name on there though.
Oh, okay. You didn't have him on the list.
No, I didn't have his name on there, but I definitely was excited to get Dre. But I had so many big names, but D Wade, Boogie. Like I did DeMarcus Cousins' wedding. I did Draymond's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I did Steph Curry for the playoffs. I think it was 2021, maybe.
Okay.
I did all his looks for the playoffs. Do a lot of stuff with Jimmy Butler, E40. Like I said, I did Bieber, I did Kodak, Maxwell, Kim, my guy Kim, shout out. I do a lot of work beyond just like entertainers, like Melvin Rodriguez. He and his wife Mo Rodriguez, they
Okay.
own Mael, the black hair company.
Absolutely.
So I got a lot of business owners and like a lot of finance guys who they just want to look sharp, and like they know that I deal with a very affluent audience.
Mm-hmm.
And women too, shit, I've done shit for Reese Witherspoon, Gabrielle Union, like Lena Waithe. Like, oh my God, I've got so many women that I've made clothes for, and super fortunate. I'm super fortunate that I've forgotten more than half of the people.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I've forgotten way more people than I've mentioned right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, I know a few of them. Like I said, that was at the game as well. Like our head coach Neil Ivy, and Don Staley.
Don Staley, shout out.
Yes, for sure.
As a former athlete and coach, I understand how important it is to take care of your body. Training to compete at a high level can often deplete your body of the minerals it needs to rebuild muscle, tendons, and ligaments. But don't worry, because I have the cheat code for recovery. H3 Energetic Sea Moss. My wife and I both take it every day, and it gives us a boost of energy while also helping with those unexpected aches and pains. Look, don't get struck. Go to h3energetics.com today and grab your container of sea moss. Use the discount code AStarStruck and get one of my favorite flavors, the Mixed Berry Blast, for 10% of the regular price.
I know the list can go on, and I also know the list of your accomplishments can go on and on. But that's one of the reasons why I want to have you on here, Rich, for real, because I know that, people like yourself, it's something inside of you that pushes you and motivates you at a level that the average person doesn't have. And sometimes they need that push and that motivation to understand what it takes to overcome stuff. So just to flow into a Starstruck podcast, this is about a star being struck by something that allows you to get in a space where you have to overcome, you have to be resilient, and you have to get up and move. And man, when I read your story, when I talked to you in Paris and I understood exactly who you were, man, that was one of the best things that could have ever happened from a, just a meeting someone standpoint. And I loved your story, man. So, do you have a starstruck moment that you could share with us?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, there's so many, like, there's always challenges and hurdles. Um, I'll actually touch on two.
Okay.
And the first one is not a starstruck moment, but it's just some people would allow it to be a starstruck moment. I was 27 and I moved to New York to Taylor. And Memphis, I've been working in Memphis for so long, and I felt like I tapped out, like I wasn't gonna grow anymore. So I moved to New York. I worked as the head tailor at a suit shop. I worked in the basement at another suit shop. Um, I did handwork all day at another suit shop. So I was really learning the craft. Well, at the time, I had a daughter. Like I was going through a divorce. Um, I married young. I was going through a divorce, and so I had a young daughter who was like about to turn 2, who was still back in Memphis. And I'm in New York, doing my thing. I get back every now and then. And so the housing market crashed in 2000, the end of 2007. And so I got fired from all my jobs because everybody was like, pretty much closing the door. So they was like, yo, money's out. Like, and no one's shopping. You're the last one in. You're the kid. So we got to let you go. So I was like, damn. I was literally on the bus. So I lost one job and I was like, okay, it's all good. I got another job because I was working 2 jobs. I was like, it's all good. I got another one. So I'm on the bus. It's on my birthday, and I'm going to watch a movie. And right after the movie, I was going to go move into my apartment. Well, I'm on the bus, and I get a phone call, and it's like, hey, what's up? It's like, hey, how's it going? It's like, oh, cool. Today's my birthday. I'm actually about to go catch a movie and get the keys to my new place. And I immediately knew it was some shit. Because Tom was just like, oh, well, and he was just like, shit, well, this is going to suck. I was
Right.
like, what's up?
Yeah.
He was like, well, yeah, I got bad news, man. We got to let you go. He's like, dude, this recession. He's like, dude, we're in a housing crash. Like, business is terrible, man. I'm so sorry. So I literally got fired on my birthday, on my way to go pick up the keys to my apartment. So I was
Wow.
like, damn, now I ain't got no job. I'm in New York. I don't know anyone like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I packed it up. I went back home. And when I got home, man, I realized that I was going to have to be more responsible for my daughter. Because, her mom was young. I mean, we were both young, but I think I was already in the parenting mode. Like I grew up in a real strict, household. So I saw parenting at its
Mm-hmm.
finest. And she wasn't quite ready. And it wasn't apparent until I got there. And so I'm like, damn, I'm this 27-year-old with these dreams to like really do all this shit and
Mm-hmm.
make some things happen. But I'm recognizing that my kid needs my attention. Um, and if I don't do this, if I focus on me right now and I don't do this, she's gonna end up in trouble. And so I just had to shift and like I ended up having to get custody of my kid, of a daughter. Like she was 2 years old. And I was a baby. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and her mom moved like out of the state. And so it's like, oh shit. So I'm really here with a 2 year old with all this ambition. I don't have an investor. I don't have this pool of money. Shit, I needed to go get a job, but um, just having that responsibility and knowing that I didn't want to trust daycares with my 2 year old. And
Mm-hmm.
I got this beautiful daughter. She's so intelligent. She's very sensitive. And I just didn't want to expose her to what I knew was out there waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I was like, damn, bro, you just got to hustle. Like, you got to like kick your hustle into overdrive because the job shit ain't going to cut it. You got to like get back on your grind.
Mm-hmm.
So I really started like tailoring more, being places more, and I started designing bags. And that's really what gave me the confidence. Like women started buying my bags all the time. Like women who was wearing Gucci and Louis and shit. They was like, "Yo, I want to spend 400, 500, 600 on one of your bags." And I was like, "Damn, if you could do that shit in Memphis, you take your ass to LA, you might be able to make something happen."
Of
So
course.
that, me doubling down on like maintaining my creative focus and creating my money instead of doing the job thing inspired me to create these bags, which gave me the confidence to take my skills to LA. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the only reason that I went out to the West Coast was because I thought I could go out there and be a bag designer, because I'm definitely different in the industry. There's not gonna be very many bag designers that match my profile.
Of course.
Um, and so I went out with that objective, and God just has a way of like taking you through some other things to show you a greater purpose. But that moment, like I remember, man, when my partners was like, "Man, where am I at?" I was like, "Man, she just left town." It's like, "What?" It's like, "What you gonna do with her?" I'm like, "Shit, what you mean? What I'm gonna do with her? I'm just gonna do what
This is my
daddies do."
daughter.
Man,
Yeah.
but they were like, "Bro, but you like young, bro. You this close to like some shit bubbling for you, bro. You don't got time for that kind of shit. Can't you like take her to your mom or like her mom and do the granny thing?" I was like, "No, this is my response. This is my kid.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up with my granny. I grew up with my parents. I
Mm-hmm.
saw my grannies when my parents took me to visit. Like, no, that wasn't my experience. I don't understand that one. I only know to do it this way,
Mm-hmm.
and just I feel like so many blessings came as a result of making what I felt at the time was a sacrifice. Like, damn, I'm gonna sacrifice my social life, all this cool shit that I'm on to be like a young parent trying to like hustle and stack money up and keep a roof over our head. So that was like the first thing that was one of the first encounters that was like, yo, shit can get real. And you gotta be able to pivot, you gotta be able to maneuver. You can't get stuck on like, oh, I wasn't expecting this to happen. I don't know what to do. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta figure out what to do and you gotta do it quick.
On the
And I
spot.
think having a daughter that relied on the speed, because you can't bullshit around when you got a mouth to feed. When you got someone who's tugging at you saying, "Daddy, Daddy, please figure this out." You figure that shit out quick.
Of course.
Um, so I think that was like one of my first moments. It was like, all right, cool. You tried to derail me. I see what you did. You
Mm-hmm.
thought that was going to derail me. You you
Mm-hmm.
you threw something at me. You thought you struck me, but it
Yes.
kind of bounced off. But then I definitely took a blow to the chin a little
Okay.
bit later. So,
And this is after this.
oh yeah, it's way after this.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is like I'm still young. I'm 27. I'm in Memphis. I'm figuring it out. I didn't move to the West Coast until I was 30.
Okay.
So at
Got you.
this point, my daughter's 4. She ain't even in school yet. We hopped in the back of a car. I had $500 to my name. That's all the money I had in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I honestly, I just got out of jail. Some stupid shit. Just I had a failure to appear in
Mm-hmm.
court before I moved to New York, and there was like a bench warrant out. So I literally, I'm just getting out. I've had to pay some money on this bond, attorneys and shit, and I'm like, oh my god, everything is trying to thwart me from leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Because I told everyone I'm leaving, I'm going to LA. And the enemy just shows up when he says, "Oh, you trying to do some shit? You want to
Right.
better yourself? All
Right.
right, I'm gonna test you real quick." And lo and behold, man, these tests showed up, and I was like, "I don't care, I don't care." And then as soon as I got out, I was like, "Well, shit, man, what I got left? $500. Bet. How much gas I'm gonna need to get there? $300. All right, bet. I can figure out the rest."
Mm.
I loaded my daughter in the back seat, pulled up the maps because actually I think I did have an iPhone,
I was about to
but
say
anyhow,
GPS back then,
yeah,
but go ahead.
it was different. Um, there was no GPS in the car, that's for sure. And that's it, man. We just drove for 3 days across the country to a place we'd never been to pursue something that I'd only seen in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And this is
Um,
you, your daughter, and
yeah,
Just you
That
and
was it.
you and your daughter.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was just me and my daughter. Like, I'd also talked to my brother, and I told my brother, "Yo, we need to." So my brother had gone out to San Diego a couple days prior to me.
Oh, okay.
My sister was in the military, so we were gonna go straight to LA.
Mm-hmm.
But she said that she was getting stationed in San Diego. We wanted to be closer to her. And San Diego's like 2 hours away. So we were like, well, shit, we'll just come and pull up in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be close to you, make sure you're straight, and then we'll, get to LA when we need to.
For sure.
Um, but in terms of like who's providing for me and the kiddo, me.
You right.
Um, and so drove out to San Diego, beautiful place. Um, and then, life happens, man. It didn't work out really with my sister, so we just had to kind of strike out solo and just figure out the city and everything. And still not really working a job, trying to figure out business. And San Diego's a different type of city. And then, my dad died real abruptly, like just when I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
Wow.
And that was just a huge blow,
Yeah.
you know.
I can imagine.
And so yeah, so then it's like, oh shit, storms are coming. Um, and it's like, damn, what do I do? Because this is the unknown. I'm not used to these storms, and I don't have anyone that can help me or bail me out of any of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cold. So some people say you should just come back home. You should just come back to Memphis. And I left Memphis for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go back to Memphis, I'm gonna have to leave Memphis all over again real soon. So I may as well go through this storm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it was just like a few people I knew came out to Memphis, and everyone hit a storm, and 90% of them left and went back to Memphis. And it was just like, no, I'm not gonna be one. I can't have that story about how I was this close.
Yes.
I can't do that. So, I eventually, some cool things happened in San Diego. It was like, yo, it's baller shit. I had one of the first baller experiences ever, living in like a villa, driving in Maseratis. It wasn't even mine. Someone else was financing it. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Gave some value in the right way and got to live this extraordinary lifestyle. Me, my brother, my daughter, all from like just helping the right person.
Right.
It's one of those angel moments where it's like, damn, cuz, like we was really in the presence of someone who could change our shit instantly just because we were some solid dudes.
Of course.
And so we had that experience, and then it disappeared 6 months later. And but I already had a taste of it. So I knew like, damn, that's what the good life feels like.
Okay.
I'm gonna pursue it on my own. I don't need to rely on someone else to provide it for me. I have the means and the wherewithal. Let me go out here and pursue this good life shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I packed it up. I moved to LA. I get a job working at the mall at Beverly Center, selling suits for this company called Xenia. So it's really nice suits, but I wasn't even making $20 an hour. And got a kid to take care of, you know what I'm saying? So I'm doing that, and I wasn't really having the best experience like a year in.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm like doing my thing in sales, I'm the black guy on staff. I got all the tattoos, and I'm a bit more brash and outspoken. I have thoughts, and I don't have a problem communicating those. So that doesn't work very well in certain structures.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized it was time for me to create my own structure. So I branched out, started this little hustle selling suits. I would create these little parties, these little events, and I had these models come and cocktail serve. I buy bottles and just like bartend, make drinks, walk around, be pretty, flirt with these dudes. And I would have guys come through and have a good experience, smoke cigars, talk good shit. And then it's like, yo, I got some suits I need to put you on. He's like, all right, man, cool, let's go. You don't want to say no with all these girls looking and shit. And I started doing these events and started, flipping money. Like, oh shit, I can make some real money doing this.
Mm-hmm.
My first event, it was a weekend. Saturday and Sunday, man. I made like 20 grand. I was like, fuck, I can never make this kind of money in a weekend. So I quit my job the next day.
That's solid.
Yeah, and I just like branched out on my own. Like, all right, cool. That's my last job. I'm gonna just figure this out. I'm gonna hustle it. And started doing that. Started doing these events. My daughter had moved to New York with her mom because her mom had like gotten married and was like, "Yo, I was tripping. I grew up. You probably need a little break. Why don't you go focus on you? I'll take care of the kid for a minute. Let's switch it up." So I let my daughter go out to New York to stay with her, and that was tough also because this is someone I'm used to seeing every day.
Of
I'm used to
course.
interacting with this person every day, and for her betterment, because I know it's good for her to have that experience. She didn't have no real experience with her mom. She needs that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you feel withdrawal. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? It was really really rough, and I got that coupled with like not understanding how my dad could die so young and so smart, so capable. Um, and I couldn't understand life wasn't making sense to me yet, and why shit just wasn't clicking.
Hmm.
And depression set in, man. And believe it or not, a person who just never thought I could ever hit a low because I was always so, chipper and shit. There was this darkness that was like there. And it kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And one day I was completely engulfed in it. And man, I got on drugs real bad. You're in LA, so like you're in LA, so you have access to everything.
Yeah.
And, I've been smoking weed since I was a kid, so that's nothing. But LA they got some extra shit.
Right.
Um, and when you're hurt, when you're going through some things, and your brain doesn't feel comfortable in its own body, and your heart hurts and all that shit. You do things. You practice escapism, however you can. And I found that through alcohol and women and drugs and just lasciviousness, just
Hmm.
like not giving a fuck.
Hmm.
Really just a course for self-destruction. And I always thought I was a person that could just like, I smoked cigarettes for a while and then I'd stop for like 6 months because I don't need to do this shit. And then one day I'd smoke again and I might smoke a few months and I was like, I'm done. So I always thought I was a person who could like never really get addicted to shit. I thought
Yeah.
I was just big with addiction until I got addicted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shit tore me up.
What did you get addicted to?
Cocaine, baby, cocaine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Cocaine was something special.
Hmm.
It was everywhere. It was just like, in Memphis, I never like I saw it maybe once or twice, but it was so taboo in Memphis when I was coming up. At least like weed was bad enough. Like I was going to jail for weed, so we weren't even thinking that. We were thinking that's about as challenging as I want to be. Let me,
Hmm.
smoke me a blunt. I'm good. But you get to LA and you hanging out at Chateau Marmont, you go in the bathroom and they're doing lines at the stall and just like, hey buddy, how's it going? You
Hmm.
want some? It's like, shit, why not?
You have never heard anyone come in and actually guarantee a bucket off the bounce from half court. H3 energetic CMOS, that's what does it, dog. Alright, don't try this at home and don't say I didn't tell you. Y'all know me. Off the bounce!
You know?
Right.
Um, and so, and I think about being young and having money and freedom and I don't have my daughter with me. I don't have a job. I'm making all this money right now. I can do whatever I want to do. Shit, I'm me, baby.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I learned real quick that like, you know, pride come before a great fall, and my pride was on 10. Um, and yeah, that shit just wiped me out. I looked up and like my money was tricked off. Um, my reputation was tricked off because I was bullshitting. I was making excuses. I was spending work money on play.
Yeah.
I wasn't handling responsibilities. I was issuing excuses instead of results. and looked up, and no one could trust me. It was like, I don't know about this dude, man. He gives you your money, you might get your shit, but 9 times out of 10, he might have an excuse for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked up, man, and it was done, and I was like, shit. So I had to do some rebuilding, and you know, I had to do some rebuilding,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I finally got back to a cool point where I, rebuilt my reputation with some people, and I just started over. I was like, I'm gonna clean this shit up, and I finally, I kind of got some bread, got up on my feet, and I moved out of this little apartment I was staying at with a buddy. I had a few thousand on me. And a client hit me who I had not handled proper business with in the past. Like I still owe this dude like a suit, you
Yeah.
know. And I hit him. I was like, "Yo, I need to make this shit right." So I hit Cuz and I was like, "Hey, bro, I need to really link up with you. I need to get this right." And he was like, "Yeah, all right, cool, P. Come through." And so I pulled up to his crib. He lost all this weight. And he was like, "Yo, yeah, P, I need all these suits, yada yada." And I was like, "All right, cool, bet. Well, that's awesome because I owe you a suit anyhow." So he put in this big order. So I was like, well, shit, I got the money. Let me go ahead and front it, and get it back to him. So I get it back and he gets the order. He's like, yo, these are great. I need to add 2 more suits to the order. I'm like, all right, cool. Um, so we want to take care of this first invoice and then we do another one. He's like, no, just add it all to the invoice and I'll take care of it when you come back.
Mm-hmm.
So I come back and at this point, I spent all my money. So all the money that I had,
Mm.
it's like probably 8 grand. I spent all that shit making the suits.
Okay.
But this dude's super rich. He's got, Bentleys and I mean he got everything you could think of. The dude's super rich. This ain't no money to him. It's nothing. So I bring him the suits. He's like, all right, cool, bet, man. I appreciate it, bro. That's beautiful, man. I'm finna wear these on Wendy Williams, bro. I'm finna be lit. I'm like, dope. All right, so you got your card, I can go ahead and run it. He's like, oh dude, my accountant, she'll send you a check. I was like, oh damn, cuz I need to get a card. He was like, I tell you what, I have my accountant call you tomorrow and she'll give you the card to use because I don't even have none of that shit on me. I was like, all right, cool. Blow off.
Ghosted you. Never seen him again.
Never saw him again. And turns out he was being sued by everyone left and right. So I
Wow.
didn't realize it until I did a little research. And so I was at the very back of the line of what he would give a fuck about paying.
Okay. Okay.
So I realized then it's like, damn, it's doomed, dog. You're over with. And that was it. I had like $200 left. Started with 8 grand, had like 200 left. And that's not enough to do nothing. You can't get a hotel room, you can't get shit. You can barely eat. And so, I asked a few friends who I used to party with and shit if I could like come crash on their couch or come crash on their floor or just whatever. And every single person I called had an excuse why they couldn't,
Wow.
And I realized like, damn, you either burn people or they gave you shit to begin with and like your circle wasn't tight. You just had people you could fuck around with and be irresponsible with. And now that it's time you're looking for someone to help you be responsible, that's not what they're there for.
Right.
They were there for fun. They were there for the fun shit. They don't want to take care of you. They don't want none of that extra shit. Even girls who I was like, familiar with during that time was like, oh no, we don't do that. We do the other shit, but like you can't come over and just crash.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, you really got no option. So after a few nights, man, that 250 turned to 150. And that was it. It was just like, damn, they got a shelter. It was like $13 a night. You gotta swallow your pride. I slept outside on a bench, a couple nights, but it was November. Shit was getting cold. And I was like, man, you gotta have a roof over your head, Jack. And so that was what I had to do. And I just had to swallow my pride and get in that line with people and go in, give them that $13, get a toothbrush, and find you a little spot that you could lay at on a little yoga mat, and that's where you slept for the night, arms length away from a stranger on every side of you.
How long did you do that? How long did that last?
90 days.
90 days. Wow.
90 days.
Wow.
It was
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So during that time when that was happening, from a mental health standpoint, Like, I know that had to mess with you from so many angles. The pride, the hustle, the passion that you have. Yeah, horrible, man. I know it. But speaking from a mental health, how did you get out of it? And what made you, I don't know, solid enough to say, you know what? I got to climb out. Regardless, I got to
God,
climb out.
God did.
God.
Um, yeah, it wasn't me at all. It was not me. I would have died there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, God did. Um, I got to a place where I was calling this dude's phone every day. Like, where's my money? Like, bro, I'm hungry. You got my money. I'm gonna need that. You know, you hungry and I got your address. I'm gonna need that. You know, so I was just getting like my ribs was touching. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's someone that got the solution to my problem. You got the antidote. You know what I'm saying? And you playing with me for some reason you don't want to give it to me, but I'm gonna need that. And so my energy was shifting there. Then I had a homeboy who was super rich, who I reached out to, and he kind of blew me off, bullshitted me so he could take care of getting his friend's daughter some Christmas presents. So it
Mm-hmm.
was just like I didn't seem like a priority to people, and I was hiding it from my family because I didn't want my mom to know
Yep.
because she it would have hurt her in a way that I wasn't trying to do that to her, which means I couldn't let my siblings know, which means I couldn't ask my siblings for help. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through that whole thing myself. I couldn't let my ex know because then I wouldn't get to see my daughter no more. So like
Mm-hmm.
I was just in a really rough spot and I didn't want people to know because you got pride. So the only people that knew were the 10 people I called and said, "Hey, can I crash on your couch?"
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, I was like, "Damn, Jack, you got to look like you still got your shit together on social media." Because people are like, "Hey, man, where you at? We ain't seen you in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Everything good?" You can't. Yeah, man, I'm down and out, man. Can y'all? You can't do that. You just got to figure it out. So the first 60 days was just rage and disbelief and being on the brink of like, that little thing that's saying, curse God. God shouldn't have allowed you to be in this position. You're
Mm-hmm.
young, you're beautiful, you're intelligent. Oh, you should just, you know what I'm saying? So you got that little thing on your shoulder saying God did this to you.
Mm-hmm.
God's taking so much from you. Just just curse him, you know what I'm saying? Just tell him how mad you are at him. And I was like, man, shut the fuck up.
Right,
It's like,
right,
stop
right,
playing.
right, right, right.
I'm mad, but I ain't stupid now.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so enraged that no one was there to help me. And I didn't know where to turn. And I was falling into a void of hopelessness, just an absolute void of hopelessness. And I'm sleeping next to junkies. Um, these people are like wilding out in their sleep, having fits. It's fucking crazy. Niggas shitting on themselves in their sleep. Like,
Mm.
it's crazy shit. Like, it is not normal. And I'm losing my mind. Like I'm really losing my shit because this is home now. This is where I
Mm-hmm.
got to come every night. Uh, and Fortunately, I had my phone, and on my phone, fortunately, in order to get to sleep, I needed to listen to something, and I knew that if I listened to an audiobook, I might have a better chance of sleeping peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I would listen to some music that my dad would listen to a lot. So it felt like a hug. It felt like my dad was giving me a hug. Like it's gonna be all right. So I'm listening to some music that really reminds me of him. So that resonated. But then it evolved and it was like, okay, listen to some audiobooks. Maybe try that whole what
Meditation.
would they call it? Well, no, it's like it's this thing where you put a pillow under your I mean a book under your pillow
Oh, okay.
and osmosis. No, you there's a term, I'll think of it later, but they say that you can learn through whatever this thing is. You can put a book under your pillow and you'll be able to decipher it in your sleep.
Okay.
So I would listen to audiobooks and I decided to listen to Think and Grow Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's long enough. And another one by Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, which both of them talk about manifestation. And they just talk about reprogramming your mind
Mm-hmm.
to only believe what you want to receive and
Mm-hmm.
not be concerned with the present or the past, only be focused on the future. And it was so crazy because I just needed to get to sleep. I just happened to pick those titles because I knew they was kind of boring, but they had information. Let me just sleep on it. And so subconsciously, I'm downloading some new things. And so one day I have this last call. I was so pissed off that I went in to call this guy and I called him for the last time and just cussed out his voicemail and was like, stop playing games, yada, yada, yada. And I hung the phone up. And in that moment, God showed up in the space that I was and started speaking to me, like you and I are speaking. Um, God mocked me at first, so I knew it was real because I felt the shame of being mocked for chasing this man who has shown that he has no desire to help me, and how foolish that was, and how I decided to make a man my God, and I go to him and I pray to him every day, asking him to bless me instead of going to the real and actual God, but the same thing. And God just challenged me is like, if you change your perspective and you view this as a test and as an experience for you to hit your low and decide where you want to be from here, maybe I'll show you something magical. And so I just had to commit in that conversation with God that I was going to do something different. I would never call him again. And I would view this differently. I was no longer going to be angry at the circumstance. I got myself here. This is all my fault. I fucked up, you know? And I'm the only person that can get myself out of here with God. So this is going to be something magical, like pursuit of happiness. And at the end, I'll be able to credit God and say, yo, this is a miracle. People don't believe in God. Yeah, shit. Let me help you get some belief, Jack. Absolutely. Let me tell you what I went through. And so I just promised God that that would be my intent, that I would like be that person who would use this as a testimony. And I went to sleep that night and God gave me a vision of the future. And I saw myself as a person of status, somebody of importance. And I woke up and I was like, damn, this shit was crazy. This shit felt real. And I went to sleep the next night and I had another very similar dream. And in this one, I just paid attention to like, what are you seeing, bro? Because like, you've never done this before. You've never hopped in a dream as yourself in like your own timeline. There's some real shit. Like, what are we seeing? So I just looked around and paid attention to shit. And that's when I saw a Maserati in my driveway. Same one I got outside right now in my driveway. I saw like shit. I saw how I looked. I saw a mirror. I could see my hair color. I saw all these things. I saw I had an assistant and I had a company. And I was like, damn, boy, you figured some shit out. I don't know what you did, but you figured some shit out.
Yeah.
So move in that direction. That looks like success. It looks like you got it, you know? So like when I got up in that dream, I was like, okay, focus on being that person that you saw. Because the person that you saw is not the person that you are currently. It's the person who you can be, who you should be. So what are the attributes of that person? And I just focused on that. And I listened to more books and I prayed and I talked to God all the time. And I thank God for a renewed mindset and for him not abandoning me when I abandoned him. And a few days later, I was out.
You was
Just
out?
happened. I was out. Yeah, a few days later, you know, I prayed. I said, God, please, I don't want to be here by my birthday. And like a week later, you know, I put a picture of some pants up on social media, and someone called and said, man, I need like 6 of them. I was like, shit, okay, bet. So I hit a quick lick, and I was able to get out. Now I got a few dollars, still not enough to, you know, be normal, feel
Change
normal,
your life.
but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's like, okay, well, you can breathe, you can thank God. And then I started playing this game with God where I would ask God for specific things, for like specific dollar amounts. Because I know that God is a very precise God and you have to be specific with what you ask for. You know, and I asked God for a specific dollar amount. I didn't know how I was going to get it. I didn't care, but I asked for the dollar amount because God also likes to prove God's power.
That he's God.
And if you say,
right?
oh, God, give me some money might show up. You might not realize it's God. But if you ask for exactly $14,000 and exactly $14,000 shows up, you realize like, oh shit, it's like a freaky, like a spooky moment. Like, whoa. And God's able to present himself as like, hey, I'm real. So I caught myself like thanking God, but asking God for more. And God was like, what does more look like? You got to quantify it. So I quantified. I was like, okay, God, you're right. Let me get, let me do this. I want this dollar amount in the next 30 days. And God was like, all right, what are you going to give up for it? I was like, never thought about that. So I got to sacrifice something. He's like, yeah, you got to sacrifice three things that your flesh desires. And so I gave up drinking. I gave up eating uh, beef and pork. I gave up coke. You know, I was like, I'm done with it. So 30 days later, I made that exact dollar amount. I was like,
Really?
shit, what the fuck? Okay, and it was a big dollar amount. It was, you know, I mean, well, fuck, I mean, I'll tell it. Fuck, it's a story.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 14,000. So I asked God for 14,000. Like, hey, I want to get 14,000 over the next 30 days with my own shit, designing my own clothes. I'm not doing no alterations for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not selling no one else's shit. It's my own shit. Um, I'm gonna start this brand. I'm gonna call it Rich Fresh. So I'm gonna make $14,000 in sales of Rich Fresh products in the next 30 days, all custom made. Next 30 days, 14,000. So I went back to God. I said, damn, that was fun. And that was actually easier than I thought. Let's do it again. This time, let's increase it a little bit. Let's do 40,000 this month. And uh, I'll give up all alcohol because I had only given up like hard liquor, but I was still drinking wine and beer and shit. So I was still getting drunk. So I was like, I'm gonna give up anything that it can intoxicate. I'll give up all meat. So I was still eating fish and sushi. So I gave up all meat. I haven't had meat in 8 years.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
well, almost 8 years. I gave up cigarettes, um, as well as coke. And God said, okay, get to work. Just do the shit you do every day, No cold calling, no weird shit. Just get up every day, make a post on social media, be present. And 30 days later, I made 40 grand. And I was like, shit, twice? Okay, God, let's do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and I was like, that was awesome, but I know you could do even more than that. Cause I know you're an amazing guy. You love to show me cool shit like this. So let's do 100. And God was like, all right, you gotta give up something else. And I had a problem with women. And so I told God, all right, cool, I'm gonna take a seat for like 3 months. I'll take a seat and I'll be more in the spirit. I won't pursue the flesh. I'll just chill. Like I won't even think of women on that level. I'll just be very like platonic, very respectful. I won't be
Mm-hmm.
pursuing them as objects, you know what I mean? Um, and I just completely shifted my psyche, just like some instant. This is how you move now. And uh 90 days later, I had forgotten because I the next month I didn't make 100. I made like 50 or something. So I was still up there. I was still making like crazy money for someone who just got out of shelter 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and 3 months go by, and I just moved into this crib, and I was out on the balcony, and this voice came to me and said, "Oh, today's July 1st, isn't it? That's crazy. I remember 90 days ago you asked me for something. Yeah, you should check your bank account and see how much money you made this month." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, just check all of your incoming. See how much you brought in." And I made $101,100. Exactly.
Mm.
Maybe like some cents, but it was 101,101,100.
Mm.
And I was like, damn. I just had to sit there and I was like, man, God is so powerful.
Yes, sir.
God is so powerful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a
It's
heck
just
of a
like,
story.
yeah, this shit was wild. You
Yes,
know?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah. And after that, Rich Fresh was born.
Rich
As we
Fresh was
all
born.
yeah.
Now multi-millionaire. Now.
Boy, we're definitely doing our thing. I'm working on multi-billionaire.
Absolutely, for sure, for sure. Well, I want you to know that as an African American male, doing your thing, I'm very, very proud of you, man. I am.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you, bro.
Our interaction, when we met, it was just really, it was epic, man, because it had never happened in Paris, a game like that. It was the first time. And then someone like yourself come in and, you know, just bless the platform. For us to meet, you know, man to man, you know, again, I'm very proud because I pride myself in doing great things as well. And you know, I really try to make sure that I spew off that type of grit to everyone that I'm around. And that's another reason why I knew your story, so I wanted you to come on because it's so powerful. So powerful.
Yeah, bro, I appreciate it, man. Like, you know, I get emotional sometimes just hearing it again because, you know, when you get through it, you get kind of removed from it. You tend to forget. But just like, man, if I was hearing that story and it wasn't mine, that shit would move me to like,
Yes.
you know, to just defy obstacles. Like, damn, you know, I watched Pursuit of Happiness a lot. You know, my daughter loved that movie when she was really young, and so we watched it so much. He's actually also someone who I made clothes for, Chris Gardner.
Okay.
I met him in Chicago. Real cool dude, funny dude. But you know, seeing his story, I think kept me from cracking out. Like I had moments where I had like really dark thoughts on like just end it. Like you're a fuck up. This is a waste of space. Like just end this shit. You're not gonna be shit. It was one of them. And I was like, yeah, but I've seen examples of what people who also may have felt like they wasn't shit can accomplish when they decide that they are shit. So I can't really go there with you because I saw what Chris did in Pursuit of Happiness. You know, I've heard stories of what this mother had to do when she was escaping her abusive husband and she had to take her kids to a shelter. And I've heard her story of how she became something incredible. So I can't sit around here crying and boo-hooing when I'm the one that did the shit. I'm the one that did the drugs. I'm the one that fucked off. So it's like it wouldn't really allow me to go dark because the woe is me shit, it only works so much. And like,
It only works so much.
Very real, and I'm very real with myself.
Yeah.
And I hear that shit, it's like, man, shut the fuck up, bro. You did this shit.
No doubt. No doubt.
You know?
Let me ask you this, Rich. What advice would you give to younger kids that's coming up and watching and trying to do something with their lives?
Know that it's all possible. That's the gist of whatever the whole story that I just gave. The whole gist of that is it's all possible. None of it is supposed to be.
Yes.
You know, I don't exactly know your story, Carlos, but I know you had some experiences in life, probably in your childhood, that you should not have even attempted to be as great as you attempted to be. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And there's just a thing that you probably had someone that spoke greatness into you and planted a seed that you could reach back to whenever you had moments of doubt.
Of course.
And unfortunately, it's a lot of kids out here that don't have that seed, that don't have that whisper in their ear that you can do incredible things just because you want to. It don't even got to make sense.
Of course.
You can just literally have a dream and be willing to pursue it, and anything and everything is absolutely possible. That's what I would tell any and every kid. Dream big and pursue that shit. Like if you knew that you couldn't fail, what would you do?
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, Rich, I appreciate you blessing our platform again. Man, you have been wonderful, marvelous, and I knew it. That's why I wanted to have you on, man. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to having you on again so that we can do some more things, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to come back on and talk to you about some $1 billion shit one day real soon.
And I might be out there with you.
Oh, man, absolutely, bro.
All right, Rich. Hey, you take care, man. Get a family the greetings, man, and much love to you.
Love and respect, my bro.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
All right, peace.
Warrior, anything you place in front of me, I'll be victorious.